Hello, I'm Peter Fingar, and as a former CIO and college professor, I've been working at the intersection of business and technology for almost 40 years. You could say this grandpa has seen it all from the very beginning, so I don't pay much attention to the constant stream of hype that comes from the IT industry. But now and then, something game-changing comes along and I devote my full attention. Well, today we are witnessing a seismic shift in information technology, the kind that comes about every decade or so, and it will have a huge impact on business, especially in today's dire economy. It's called the cloud, a 21st century business platform built on cloud computing technologies. And cloud computing is set to unleash a perfect storm in business.
Today's business forecast, cloudy. Today's technology forecast, cloudy. Did you know Dubai is a classic example of a hydrocarbon economy leader that wants to become an epicenter of the cloud economy? We are witnessing a seismic shift in information technology, the kind that comes around every decade or so, and it will have a huge impact on business. Do you remember how the retail industry was slow to grasp the importance of the internet before it got Amazoned? Well, another technology storm is brewing, only this time the turbulence could be even greater and affect every industry. And it's no less than a perfect storm, as it's coming at us in the midst of the current economic climate, in the midst of unexpected change. It's called the cloud, a 21st century business platform built on cloud computing technologies. Just as it was with a fresh new internet of only a decade ago, the cloud and cloud computing bring with them confusion and hype. Nevertheless, these are game-changing phenomena, so business leaders and the rest of us must gain an understanding of what these terms really mean and how they will affect us, just as much as the internet has affected us all. What is the cloud? What the hell is cloud computing? It's complete gibberish. It's insane. When is this idiocy going to stop? Is it a new idea? The network is the computer. 1984. Oops, the network bandwidth wasn't available in 1984. It's only now that we have the network bandwidth to realize Gage's vision. And so, when the network becomes as fast as the processor, the computer hollows out and spreads across the network. Cloud computing is the next step in the evolution of the internet as a source of services. It's those services that users are interested in, not the underlying technologies. As companies use service-oriented architecture, SOA, to provide standardized services, the value of IT to the overall business mission grows exponentially. The cloud represents the knee in an exponential growth curve. Combinatorial innovation should also be made easier by the fact that the cloud will be a huge collection of electronic services based on standards. The cloud is the real internet, or what the internet was really meant to be in the first place, an endless computer made up of networks of computers. In its essence, cloud computing is about using swarms of computers to deliver unprecedented computing power to people and organizations across the globe. When small and mid-sized businesses learn of the potential benefits of cloud computing, they will be able to tap IT infrastructures, platforms, and software that only huge enterprises could deploy in the past, making the cloud the great leveler. Even you and I as individuals will be able to use one of the world's largest supercomputers without having to house it, manage it, power it, provision it, or buy it. Rumor has it there's a good business in the long tail. My view, most computing will be purchased by that tail. There are, after all, far more small businesses than large. Cloud computing has enormous potential to speed up software development, collaboration, and ultimately, software usability. There are still big unanswered questions about cloud computing, but the global recession is accelerating CIO interest in alternative ways to deliver software and services to organizations that are demanding ever lower IT expenses while clamoring for ever higher levels of computing support for collaboration and customer service. The shift to cloud computing will dramatically reduce the cost of information technology. But let's be clear, the implications of this shift go far beyond cost savings. The digital world will converge with the physical world. There will be not just one cloud, but a number of different sorts, private ones and public ones, a federation of all kinds of clouds, in the same way that the Internet is a network of networks. And all of those clouds will be full of applications and services. Yesterday, the Internet. Today, the intercloud. The economic and innovation implications are game-changing. For technology will not only be available to handle the world's business transactions, but will also open a whole new world of human interaction and collaboration on a scale never before possible. In the past, information technology was about productivity. Now it's about collaboration, a shared information base, and collective intelligence, the wisdom of crowds, social networking, cloud sourcing. It's about business innovation. Time is the currency of the information era. To turn information into knowledge and connections into added value, you need to invest in time. Time, not money, will buy trust. Thus, a business must shift from being a corporation to being a cooperation. Especially in economic bad times, the winning company will be the company that recognizes, understands, optimizes, and reuses its business processes. Lean and green really mean something, and only those who get it will win. Exploiting the cloud is really about embracing change in the workplace, allowing technologies like Web 2.0 to facilitate better collaboration, and using business process management, BPM, to reinvent fundamental processes in a way that is more sympathetic to today's multi-party, impromptu processes. The cloud is nothing more than the platform upon which to build better businesses. Providing services to innovators inside the company and out profoundly changes the way a company appears to customers, partners, and competitors. Some of these new business processes create markets where none existed before. Others change the role the company plays within the value chain. Through open innovation, cloud computing will take globalization to a whole new level, and globalization is indeed the greatest reorganization of the world since the Industrial Revolution. Now you know. With the cloud, all is changed utterly. To say that we are living in an exciting time is an understatement. Smart businesses will take advantage of the cloud now and successfully ride out the perfect storm to create a bright future. The Chinese word for crisis consists of two characters, danger and opportunity. Out of the ashes of the current economy, a renewed one will arise.
At their start, exponential curves appear to be linear or straight lines rising gradually. We humans understand and like that kind of predictable change. But at a certain point, the pitch of the curve takes off like a rocket. So now it's time to wake up, to buckle up and get ready for the ride ahead. Let's face it, we've reached the knee of the exponential curve and are switching from a linear existence to a world of exponential change, where many of us are completely unprepared, for we have no prior frame of reference. In 1981, I met the man who invented the electronic digital computer, Dr. John Vincent Adanasoff. It's amazing the amount of change I've experienced in my life so far. Just check out that 1956 photo of a whopping 5 megabyte hard drive being delivered to be installed in IBM's first supercomputer, the IBM 305 RAMAC. You know, you could say this grandpa has seen it all from the very beginning. So I don't pay much attention to the constant stream of hype that comes out of the IT industry. But now and then, something game-changing comes along and I devote my full attention. For example, the mini-computer in the 1970s, the PC in the 1980s, and the Internet in the 1990s, just to name a few. Well, today we are witnessing a seismic shift in information technology, the kind that comes about every decade or so, and it will have a huge impact on business, especially in today's dire economy. It's called the cloud, a 21st century business platform built on cloud computing technologies, and it's no less than a perfect storm, as it's coming at us in the midst of today's world of exponential change. So as we progress today, there is one thing I want you to walk away with, and that is the wow about cloud computing isn't about on-demand IT. It's about on-demand business innovation. Today I'd like to talk about some of the business repercussions of this thing I call the cloud re-evolution. That is the big change from information technology to business technology, thanks to the buzzwords of Web 2.0 and service-oriented architecture. I'd like to then speak about how work works in the 21st century, with BPM, business process management, inside the cloud, and then move on to the new innovation imperative, innovation's child. Finally, the end of management, at least the end of management as we know it today, and the rise of self-organizing, self-managed bioteams. First, let's get this out of the way. What is the cloud? Well, Larry Ellison, CEO at Oracle, famously put it, "It's complete gibberish. It's insane. When is this idiocy going to stop?" Well, Larry's not all wrong, because there's no such thing as the cloud. It's not a new methodology, it's not a new architecture, and it's not a new technology. And by the way, if you use Yahoo or Google, you're already a pioneer in cloud computing. So if you want a definition, I would suggest going out to NIST for the most neutral definition, because if you ask 10 people what is cloud computing, you might get 15 different answers. NIST breaks it up in terms of everything as a service, starting with infrastructure, the computing, the storage, the networking, and platform as a service, where developers are able to create new software, and finally, software itself as a service, where users and business people and customers make use of software that's located in the cloud. When business people often ask me, what is the cloud? I give them a more constrained and easy to digest definition. Well, the cloud is basically the real internet, or what the internet was really meant to be in the first place. An endless computer made up of networks of computers. Even shorter, the cloud is the computer. Well, so what? The more important question than what is the cloud is what does it mean for business? As The Economist reported, it's more than just another platform that geeks get excited about. It's going to transform the IT industry for sure, but it will also profoundly change the way people work and companies operate. In the past, information technology was about productivity. Now it's about collaboration, a shared information base, and collective intelligence. One shared world, one shared computer, one shared information base. Gregory Simpson, CTO, global CTO of GE, just netted it out in one sentence. The cloud is nothing more than the platform upon which to build better businesses. So let's take a look then at this shift from information technology to business technology. One of the two cornerstones that being that of SOA, or service-oriented architecture, who many technologists think is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Of course, you ask 10 people what is SOA, you might get 20 different answers. But essentially, cloud computing is the next step in the evolution of the internet as a source of services. It's those services that users are interested in, not the underlying technologies. And by the way, in this context, a service represents a unit of business, not a unit of technology. Services can be bundled, unbundled, and rebundled at the speed of business. Its bundling and rebundling is often referred to as mashups. And this is what a mashup would look like without service-oriented architecture. Well, here's that other acronym, Web 2.0. Just like the cloud, there's no such thing as Web 2.0. Tim Berners-Lee, the developer of the World Wide Web, so this is what I meant for the web to be in the first place. But the real issue regarding Web 2.0 from a business point of view is that at home, many people have much more powerful technology than they do in the office. And by the way, that technology is easy to use. It's easy to set up a blog or a wiki. It's easy to do many things in this realm that we call consumer IT. So we must ask the question, why is consumer IT so simple and enterprise IT so complex? When we talk about Web 2.0, we can't address this subject without talking about the rise of social media. People are the destination, not other computers. You are the web. You power Google. You are the cloud. And by the way, your fancy corporate website is the last place customers go to get information, because conversation using social media now replaces marketing. How's work going to work in the cloud? Well, the thing that differentiates enterprise use of cloud computing versus consumer usage is process management. BPM is indeed the cornerstone of enterprise cloud computing. And the reason it's so important, it's no longer company versus company. Today's highly competitive world, it's supply chain versus supply chain. And no one has expressed it better than Peter Drucker. The legal entity, the company, is a reality for stakeholders and creditors and for employees and for tax collectors. But economically, it is fiction. What matters in the marketplace is economic reality, the cost of the entire process regardless of who owns what. Again and again, in business history, an unknown company has come from nowhere and in a few short years has overtaken the established leaders without apparently even breathing hard. The explanation always given is superior technology or superior strategy or superior marketing or lean manufacturing. But in every single case, the newcomer also enjoys a tremendous cost advantage, usually about 30%. And the reason for that is always the same. The company, the new entrant, knows and manages the cost of the entire economic chain, the entire value chain, rather than its costs alone. Those of you that have been to business school, certainly you've studied Michael Porter's value chain analysis, where he takes apart the primary and support activities of companies and shows how if they're optimized, the company will optimize its performance. In the early 90s, we had a big movement of business process reengineering, which then led to the advent of ERP systems. And what happened through BPR and the ERP forms of automation is we tore down silos of departmental silos, if you will, inside companies and created enterprise-wide systems to optimize the overall performance of the enterprise. With the internet, Porter's vertically integrated company gets blown to bits. Here's the reality today. It's no longer a company. It's now a complex business ecosystem that goes from our customers' customers to our suppliers, and even our core competency trading partners are now involved. So it's no longer your father's company anymore. And today, companies must maintain not one big supply chain or value chain. They must maintain multiple simultaneous value chains. So if we look at any one of those, we're talking about end-to-end business processes and the ability to manage those processes across IT systems that involve our supply chain partners, our other trading partners, multiple ERP systems. It's the end-to-end business process. What is a business process? In short, that's how work gets done. So today what we're looking at is a multi-company business process environment, putting together a multi-company infrastructure that serves as a 21st century business network. And in that network, it's like thunder and lightning. Lightning is an event. When that event occurs, the thunder is heard throughout the value chain, people can sense and respond to events. Here's a conceptual architecture. Companies down at the bottom, you're not going to be throwing away your existing IT systems, your ERP systems, your financial management systems. But what you are going to do is start integrating those using SOA into this new business network, because it's there that dynamic customer-oriented processes are created, managed, and optimized over time. We've done a business process automation for years. We've automated things, but now we're talking about business process management. That means the dynamics of ever-changing business processes. Why? Because companies are always initiating new programs, new campaigns, and new initiatives. So we need the capability to create situational business processes for each of these new campaigns and programs. In order to do that, the business network is not just our company, as we've seen. It's a multi-company network that's needed. And by the way, don't forget me. We all know that down the supply chain and up the supply chain, it's very often email and a spreadsheet is how work gets done. So in this new complex environment, don't forget to be able to incorporate even the smallest players. So in the future, there won't be just a cloud. There'll be many kinds of clouds, interclouds, if you will. Here we see my company and Flextronics, ODM, as private clouds. We see then public clouds, including Workday, Human Capital Management. We see Broadvision's merchandising systems. So let's say we created as a brand new product. Forget the iPhone. Let's talk about the sunglasses phone. Well, bingo, what happens when a swarm happens at Facebook and the thing just takes off? We've got to be able to bring together these multiple clouds to be able to react, sense, and respond to a Facebook swarm, if you will. So private clouds, public clouds, and as we see here, a business network such as E2 Open's supply chain network is a community cloud where multiple companies come together and are behind the same firewall in a multi-enterprise business network. So basically what we're doing is taking BPM into the cloud, and that will allow companies to create multi-company business operations platforms. Think of it as a business operating system that gives the entire ecosystem a step change in agility and competitive advantage. Let's talk a moment about innovation's child, the new innovation imperative. No longer can companies rely on their internal R&D. Instead, they now need to turn to outside-in innovation, to customer-driven innovation. The marketplace is moving from supply push to demand pull, where even prosumers are now involved in co-creating value with our companies. And by the way, we see that we're not dealing with just a customer, we're dealing with these customer communities. Remember, in the social web world, that's where they're talking about us. It's communities of customers. Customers are so well informed now, they're no longer king, they're now dictators. So what we have to do is position ourselves between their customer requirements and get so close to them we can anticipate their needs often before they do, and then reach out to a supplier network to meet those needs for individual customers, for groups of customers, for marketplaces. So we've moved to a sense and respond mediator role. Your company will cease to be a seller and instead become a buyer for your customers. In economic terms, it's called punctuated equilibrium. Create the innovation, score, your competition's going to be right behind you. But by the time they catch up, you've moved on again. So the notion then is not an innovation, but a serial innovator who's going to win in the long run of the markets for the future. And this notion goes around the concept of punctuated equilibrium. And by the way, you're just not getting stuff to the customer. You've got to look at the customer's lifetime value. It's not just giving them a product. Few companies any longer just sell the product. They sell it bundled with the service. You've got to have a services value chain because you need to stay with that customer through the entire life cycle of the consumption of the products and services that they bought from you. So it's like the supply chain in reverse. When you take that laptop to get fixed, who across the entire ecosystem is going to actually do the repairs and take care of the customer's problems. So this is, in essence, the future of innovation. It's outside in. It's customer driven. By the way, strategy as we knew it, according to Walt Schillick's censure, is dead. It's now all about operational agility and how fast your business can seize an opportunity. Move from return on assets to return on opportunity as the goal. And by the way, even though it's all customer driven, it's got to be supply chain enabled. That means dynamic supply chain enabled. The supply chain overall has to be able to sense, respond, and react. So when the New York Times, for example, did a big article about Virgin Mobile's new MiFi service, bingo, things went crazy. And for a 2-week period so far, what happens? Supply chain couldn't react, temporarily out of stock. So the supply chain management as we used to know it has to move from the loading dock and logistics and getting things here and there and warehouses to the very heart of the business network if we're going to have the agility we need in this brave new world of total global competition. So the innovation we're talking about is not technical innovation, it's management innovation. In a process-managed enterprise, command and control leadership gives way to connect and collaborate, where every member of a business team is a leader. In the cloud, self-organizing, self-managed teams will swarm as complex adaptive systems to seize new opportunities in this brave new world of total global competition. Well, companies aren't going to go out and just start giving all their IP and their secret sauce away. How are we going to have any kind of control in this world that sounds very chaotic? Well, it's transparency. Transparency becomes the invisible hand of management control. When BPR and ERP systems were happening in the 90s, a strong CEO had to have the leadership within the company so that departments trying to hang on to their power bases would come together and those silos could be torn down to create enterprise-wide systems. Now we need leadership that spans the entire value chain. We need to move from company leadership to industry leadership. We're moving from using IT for record keeping to using technology for actually conducting business. Back office IT is all about systems of record, straight through processing. It's about information technology. It's handled by business analysts and IT staff. On the other hand, the heart of business, or business technology, is all about systems of venture, those situational business processes. It's about using business technology to form multi-company value chains. And it's aimed more at the middle of the organization. The managers that have to deal with creating these new programs and new initiatives and campaigns, how they're able to form a new value chain based on a new marketing initiative, for example. So in this new world, we're looking at enterprise architects along with line of business managers are the key players, and the technologists play a different role. Now that different role doesn't mean that IT goes away. The implications for IT professionals are profound, and why is that? For the adaptive enterprise to come about, a system-wide view of the company is needed, and IT professionals have such a view far more than the marketing, legal, financial, and other specialists of the firm. But it won't be your father's IT anymore. It won't be the custodian of the data center, for IT becomes the coach, the counselor, that enables business units to move forward in this brave new world of cloud computing for competitive advantage. So I'll say it one more time. The wow isn't about on-demand IT. It's about on-demand business innovation. So lead, follow, or get out of the way. Yesterday, the impact on business was all about the internet. Today, it's the inner cloud. And I'll leave you with just one question. Because what can be done in the cloud will be done. That question is, will you be the doer or the one done in? Thank you.